Stop. No machines, no computers, no tools that exist today. Just hands, stone, rope, and an ambition so enormous it still doesn't make sense 2,000 years later. How do you move a stone the size of a house without a crane? How do you carve an entire city from a cliff by hand? How do you build something so precisely aligned with the stars that it still works today, exactly as designed? 10 structures. 10 moments where humans did the impossible and left the proof behind. Stay with us, because number 1 will change how you see everything. Number 10. Borobudur, Indonesia. Looks like a mountain. From a distance, a perfectly symmetrical hill rising from the jungle of central Java. Get closer, and the hill becomes something else. It is not a mountain. It is a temple, built in the shape of a mountain by human hands in the 9th century. Over 75 years of continuous construction. Borobudur is the largest Buddhist temple on earth. 2 million stone blocks. No mortar, no adhesive. Dry fitted, stone against stone, 2 million times. 9 stacked platforms. The lower 6, square. The upper 3, circular. At the very top, a single central stupa. The entire structure is a 3-dimensional mandala, a map of the Buddhist universe encoded in stone. 2,672 individual relief panels, each one carved, telling the story of enlightenment, in stone, by hand, in the jungle, 1,200 years ago. It was abandoned in the 14th century. The jungle swallowed it. For 400 years, no one knew it was there. Then, in 1814, a British officer heard stories of a buried hill. He sent men to clear the vegetation and found this. None of the million tourists who visit each year fully understand how it was built. Number 9. Chichen Itza, Mexico. Twice a year, on the spring and autumn equinox, something happens at Chichen Itza that the Maya engineered over 1,000 years ago. As the sun moves at exactly the right angle, a shadow appears on the main pyramid. El Castillo, 7 triangles of shadow, in sequence, moving slowly down the staircase. Together with a carved serpent head at the base, it creates the illusion of a feathered serpent descending from the sky. Kukulkan, the god, coming down to earth for 45 minutes, twice a year, exactly. 91 steps per staircase, 4 staircases, 364 steps plus the top platform, 365, 1 step per day of the year. 52 panels per face, the 52-year cycle of the Maya calendar. This pyramid is not just a building. It is a working astronomical instrument, a precision calendar in stone that still works today, every equinox, without fail. The Maya had no metal tools, no wheel. They built this anyway. Number 8. Colosseum, Rome, Italy. 80,000 people in one building with numbered seats, ticketed entry, separate entrances for different social classes, a retractable fabric roof to shade spectators, a system of lifts and trapdoors that raised animals and gladiators from underground chambers directly onto the arena floor. This was not built last year. This was built in 70 AD. Completed in 10 years, using 100,000 prisoners of war as forced labor. 80 entrance arches, a system of vaults and concrete that distributed the building's weight so precisely that 2,000 years of earthquakes, fires, and looters have only destroyed a third of it. 48 meters tall, 4 stories. The arena floor was wooden, removable, with tunnels underneath. They flooded it for naval battles, real ships, real water, real combat, in the center of a city. Modern stadiums use the same basic design. The Colosseum invented it in 70 AD. Number 7. Teotihuacan, Mexico. We know when it was built, 100 BC to 450 AD. We know how big it was, the third largest city in the world at its peak. 125,000 people, running water, drainage systems, multi-story apartment complexes, markets, schools. We know it was abandoned around 550 AD, burned, looted, left. What we don't know is who built it. The Aztecs arrived 700 years after it was abandoned. They named it Teotihuacan, the place where men become gods. They believed it was so magnificent, it could only have been built by gods. The Pyramid of the Sun, third largest pyramid in the world, 65 meters tall, built to align with the point where the sun sets on 2 specific days of the year. The Avenue of the Dead, 4 kilometers long, arrow straight, oriented at exactly 15.5 degrees off true north. Why 15.5 degrees? It aligns with the Pleiades star cluster on a specific date. A city built around stars, by people we cannot name, who vanished and left only the stone. Number 6. Petra, Jordan. You walk through a narrow canyon. The walls rise 80 meters above you. They close in. The sky narrows to a strip. Then the canyon bends, and through the gap, you see it. The treasury, Al-Khazne, a facade 40 meters tall, columns, urns, gods, carved from a single wall of rose-red sandstone. Not built, not assembled, carved, top to bottom, from a cliff. Petra was the capital of the Nabatean kingdom, Arab traders who controlled the spice routes between Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean. Fabulously wealthy. And they built their capital inside a rock. 30,000 people, rock-cut houses, rock-cut temples, a rock-cut theater with 8,500 seats. A water system channeling flash floods through carved channels and ceramic pipes across the entire city. All of it cut from sandstone over 2,300 years ago. The city was forgotten for 1,000 years, hidden in its canyon, until 1812, when a Swiss explorer disguised as a Muslim pilgrim convinced a guide to show him the secret city. The world forgot Petra. The stone did not. Number 5. Angkor Wat, Cambodia. From above, it is almost incomprehensible. A moat, 190 meters wide, 5.5 kilometers around, filled with water. Inside, a complex covering 400 acres. The central tower, 65 meters tall. Angkor Wat is the largest religious monument ever constructed by human beings on Earth in all of recorded history. Built in the 12th century by the Khmer Empire, dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu, to represent Mount Meru, the home of the gods. The outer wall, 3.6 kilometers long. Along it, a continuous bas-relief. 800 meters of carved stone panels, the longest continuous bas-relief in the world. 300,000 workers, 5 to 10 million sandstone blocks transported from a quarry 40 kilometers away, by elephant, by raft, by human hand. The Khmer Empire collapsed. Angkor was swallowed by jungle. Trees grew through the walls. Roots split the stones. Today, Ta Prohm, one outlying temple left deliberately unrestored. The jungle has merged with the stone. Enormous trees growing from the rooftops. Roots flowing over walls like water. Half ruin, half living forest, all impossible. Number 4. Great Wall of China. First, the myth. You cannot see the Great Wall from space with the naked eye. Astronauts confirmed it. It's too narrow. Now, the reality, which is so much more impressive than the myth. The Great Wall is not one wall. It is a system of walls, built across 15 centuries by dozens of dynasties, totaling in all sections 21,196 kilometers. New York to Los Angeles and back, 7 times. The main Ming Dynasty Wall, 8,850 kilometers. Built between 1368 and 1644, across mountains, over rivers, through deserts, along cliffs so steep that workers had to be lowered by rope just to lay the stones. 9 meters wide, 8 meters tall. Watchtowers every 500 meters, so signals could be relayed from one end to the other in hours. Millions of workers built it. Many died. Many are buried within the wall itself. The peasants called it the longest cemetery in the world. The wall did not work militarily. The Mongols breached it repeatedly simply by bribing the gatekeepers. But as a demonstration of what human will can accomplish over centuries of continuous effort, nothing compares. Number 3. Meteora, Greece. There was only one way up: a rope and a basket. The monks hauled themselves to the top of 400-meter sandstone pillars in a net attached to a rope, pulled by other monks above. No mechanical system, no safety equipment. Just men pulling other men straight up a vertical cliff. Every stone carried up by rope, every beam, every tile, every icon, every barrel of wine, every body going up in the basket, every corpse coming down. It took 22 years just to hoist enough material to build Varlam Monastery. The actual construction took 20 days. Today, 6 monasteries remain, 20 monks, 4 nuns. Total, they wake at 4 a.m. 3 hours of prayer, then work, then prayer again. They grow their own food, make their own wine, talk to almost no one. The baskets are still there, still used for supplies, but the monks are still up there, as they have been for 700 years, above everything, above everyone, exactly where they wanted to be. Number 2, Machu Picchu, Peru. 2,430 meters above sea level, on a narrow ridge between 2 mountain peaks, surrounded by cloud forest, above a river that bends nearly 360 degrees below. And on this ridge, an entire city, built around 1450 AD by the Inca Emperor Pachacuti. For what purpose, we still debate. Royal estate, sacred site, military outpost, astronomical observatory, perhaps all of these. The Inca had no iron tools, no wheel, no mortar. Every stone was cut using other stones and fitted together with such precision that not even a credit card can be slid between them. "600 years later, after centuries of earthquakes, the stones have not moved. The Inca technique, ashlar masonry, cut stones at slightly irregular angles. So when a tremor hit, they could flex, shift slightly, then settle back. The city was abandoned around 1572, after the Spanish conquered the Inca, hidden in clouds, forgotten by the outside world. The local people knew it existed, but told no one. In 1911, an American historian named Hiram Bingham was guided up the mountain by a local farmer and found it, overgrown, silent, intact. He described it as the most beautiful place he had ever seen. He was right. Number 1, Taj Mahal, India. It is not the oldest on this list, not the largest, not the most mysterious, but it is the most perfect. The Taj Mahal was built between 1631 and 1648 by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan for his wife, Mumtaz Mahal, who died giving birth to their 14th child. He was so devastated that his hair reportedly turned white overnight. He decided to build her a tomb unlike anything the world had ever seen. 22 years, 20,000 workers, 1,000 elephants, white marble from Rajasthan, jade from China, turquoise from Tibet, lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, sapphires from Sri Lanka. 28 types of precious stones, all inlaid by hand into white marble. in patterns of such complexity that the craftsmen were sworn to secrecy about their techniques. The central dome, 73 meters tall. 4 minarets built deliberately tilting outward, so if they fell in an earthquake, they would fall away from the tomb, not onto it. The reflection pool positioned at the exact distance to perfectly mirror the entire structure. At dawn, the marble turns pink. At noon, brilliant white. At dusk, golden. At night, by moonlight, it appears to glow from within. Shah Jahan planned a second Taj Mahal across the river, in black marble, for himself. He never got the chance. His son imprisoned him. He spent his last years under house arrest, with a window view of the tomb he built, watching it until he died and was buried beside her. 10 structures, built without machines, without computers, without any tool that exists today. And every single one still standing. The people who built these things were not primitive. They were engineers, mathematicians, astronomers, artists. They had less than us in every measurable way, and built things we cannot replicate today. Not because we're not smart enough, because we don't have enough patience or belief that something will matter 1,000 years from now. They believed, and the stone is still there. Subscribe, because we're just getting started.
There are places on this planet where the rules of ordinary life simply stop applying. Where the ground beneath your feet might be solid volcanic rock, or permafrost, or nothing at all, because there is no ground. Where reaching the nearest town means crossing a one-lane tunnel shared with a train, climbing a steel ladder bolted to a cliff face, riding a mule 8 miles into a canyon, or flying over Himalayan peaks that have never been mapped. Where the temperature can kill an exposed person in minutes, or the altitude can permanently damage their brain. 10 villages. 10 reasons why humans should not be living there. 10 reasons why they are. In Liangshan Prefecture in Sichuan Province, China, there is a village called Atulier, known throughout the country simply as Cliff Village, that sits on a plateau 800 meters above the valley floor, accessible only by climbing a vertical cliff face. For generations, the 72 families living on the plateau had one way in and one way out, a series of 17 handmade rattan vine ladders bolted to the rock face, stretching up a near-vertical cliff. Children as young as 4 climbed these ladders unassisted to get to school in the valley below and back. The youngest children were tied to the backs of adults for the climb. The journey took approximately 2 hours in each direction. A dropped bag could fall hundreds of meters. A slip in the wet season, when the rock was slick with rain, could be fatal. The first photograph of children making this climb, published in a Chinese newspaper in 2016, created a national sensation and prompted the provincial government to act. In 2017, the rattan ladders were replaced by a steel staircase bolted into the cliff. 2,556 individual steel steps arranged in switchbacks up the 800-meter face, with handrails and safety cables. The construction cost 1 million yuan and took several months. Workers had to rappel down the cliff face to drill anchor bolts into the rock. The villagers still live on the plateau, Their ancestors chose it because the soil there is exceptionally fertile, supporting crops that the valley floor's flooding could not damage. The children still use the staircase to reach the school below. The round-trip journey is now possible in under 2 hours instead of 4. In 2020, as part of China's rural poverty alleviation program, many families were relocated to new housing in the valley. But approximately 30 families chose to stay on the cliff. Their crops are still up there, their history is still up there, the 2,556 steps are still there. They use them. The village of Oymyakon sits in eastern Siberia, 900 kilometers from the nearest city of Yakutsk, in a valley that geography has turned into a natural cold trap. Cold air, which is denser than warm air, flows down from the surrounding hills and pools in the valley floor. It cannot escape. In January 1933, a Soviet scientist recorded a temperature of -67.7 degrees Celsius at Oymyakon, the lowest temperature ever recorded at a permanently inhabited location anywhere on Earth. The village of roughly 500 people has held the official title of the coldest permanently inhabited place on the planet ever since. Average winter temperatures sit around -50 degrees Celsius. In those conditions, exposed skin develops frostbite within minutes. Saliva freezes before it reaches the ground. Eyelashes freeze together. Metal sticks to bare skin. Yet approximately 500 people live in Oymyakon year-round, and have done so for generations, because the valley contains a natural spring that produces warm water even in the depths of winter. The word Oymyakon in the local Yakut language means unfrozen water. The warm spring was historically used as a watering hole for reindeer during nomadic migrations, and people followed the reindeer. Cars must be kept running at all times in winter, because engines that are switched off will freeze solid and cannot be restarted without being towed into a heated garage. There are no outdoor toilets, outhouses freeze, so all waste facilities are inside. Nothing can be grown in the permafrost ground, so the diet is almost entirely meat and fish. Frozen raw horse liver, cubes of frozen blood, raw frozen fish eaten like crackers. The school closes only when the temperature drops below -52 degrees Celsius. Until that threshold, classes continue as normal. The children walk to school in -45 degree air. They dress well. This is simply what winter looks like here. In the Australian outback, 850 kilometres north of Adelaide, there is a town that has solved the problem of living in one of the hottest, most hostile environments on Earth by simply going underground. Coober Pedy sits in the middle of a red desert where summer surface temperatures regularly reach 50 degrees Celsius, and the landscape offers no shade, no rivers, and no shelter of any kind. In 1915, a teenage boy named Willie Hutchinson was searching for water with his father's gold prospecting team and found something else instead. Opal, the iridescent gemstone formed from silica and water in ancient seabed sediments. The discovery that day started a mining rush that has never really stopped. Coober Pedy today produces approximately 70% of the world's opal supply, and the people who mine it live inside the mines. The underground homes of Coober Pedy are called dugouts, rooms and corridors carved directly into the soft sandstone hillsides, accessed through doors that open into the rock face. Inside, the temperature remains a constant 23 degrees regardless of the season. No air conditioning required, no heating in winter. Dugouts have been expanded over generations into full homes with kitchens, bathrooms, multiple bedrooms, and in some cases swimming pools carved from the rock. The town has underground hotels, underground restaurants, underground art galleries, and 3 underground churches, because above ground, in the heat and glare of the outback, nothing lasts long. The name Coober Pedy comes from the Aboriginal phrase Cooper Pity, meaning white man in a hole. The town also looks like no other place on Earth from above. The desert surface is cratered with thousands of mining shafts and waste heaps, stretching in every direction to the horizon. NASA has used aerial photographs of Coober Pedy's surface as a reference landscape when designing rovers for Mars. About 360 kilometers south of Tokyo, in the Philippine Sea, there is an island called Aogashima. It is a volcanic island, a shield volcano rising from the ocean floor, and its entire surface is a volcanic caldera approximately 3.5 kilometers in diameter. Inside that caldera, there is a second, smaller volcanic cone, still active, still venting sulfurous gases from fumaroles in the ground. The village of Aogashima, population approximately 200 people, sits on the inner slopes of the outer caldera surrounding the inner cone. The residents live inside a volcano. The ground around them is still geologically active. The last major eruption, in 1785, killed a significant portion of the island's population. The survivors were evacuated and the island was not repopulated until 1835, 50 years later. The people who returned to live inside the caldera of a volcano that had killed half their community 50 years earlier did so voluntarily. Getting to Aogashima requires either a helicopter flight from the nearest island, which operates on weather conditions alone. High winds can cancel all flights for days, or a ferry that can only dock when ocean swells permit, meaning the island is sometimes inaccessible for weeks at a time. There are no hotels on Aogashima. The island has a small community centre, a post office, a single shop, and a geothermal heat source, the inner volcano, that residents use for cooking. Food is steam-cooked in bamboo containers placed over geothermal vents in the ground. Hot spring baths are heated by the same volcanic heat that has been threatening the island's residents for centuries. The island is classified by Japanese authorities as one of the most remote inhabited points in Japan. It does not appear on most maps. Most Japanese people have never heard of it. It is a village of 200 people living voluntarily inside an active volcano, accessible only when the weather allows, in the middle of an ocean, 360 kilometers from the nearest major city. In the highlands of South Sulawesi, Indonesia, there is a region called Tana Toraja, where 450,000 people follow one central belief about death. A person who stops breathing is not dead. They are sick. Death is a gradual process, and until the funeral ceremony is complete, the body stays in the family home, seated in a chair, offered food at every meal, given cigarettes, spoken to. Children do homework in its presence. Guests are introduced to it. The family uses formalin to preserve the body. The person is simply called Tumakula, the sick one. This can last months, sometimes years. The reason is both spiritual and practical. A Torajan funeral requires the slaughter of dozens of water buffalo, the construction of bamboo platforms, and the feeding of hundreds of guests. A noble family may need years to save enough money. There is no rush. The soul cannot travel to Puya, the land of the dead, until the ceremony is performed. So the family prepares, and the dead person waits with them. When the funeral finally comes, The coffin is carried up a cliff face to a tomb carved by hand from solid limestone, sometimes 30 meters above the valley floor. Outside each tomb, a life-size wooden effigy called a tau tau, carved to resemble the deceased and dressed in their clothing, is placed on a balcony ledge. From there, it watches over the valley, the rice fields, and the living. Rows of tau tau line the cliff faces above Torajan villages, their glass eyes catching the light. Once a year, in August, families climb back up, open the coffins, remove the bodies, wash them, dress them in new clothes, and walk them through the village along the same paths they walked when alive. This ritual is called manini. It is not mourning, it is maintenance. A promise kept by the living to the dead. We have not forgotten you, you have not left us. We will bring you new clothes again next year. In the province of Overijssel in the northern Netherlands, there is a village called Giethoorn, where no road has ever been built. Not because roads are forbidden or impractical, but because the village was built in a time and a manner that made roads unnecessary, and the roads simply never came. The village sits on a network of narrow canals that were dug by peat farmers over the course of the 13th and 14th centuries as they extracted the turf beneath the land for fuel. As the peat was removed, the water table rose, and the land broke apart into small islands separated by the channels left behind. The farmers built their wooden farmhouses on those islands and connected them by wooden footbridges. The footbridges are the streets of Giethoorn. There are approximately 180 of them. No vehicle wider than a bicycle path can cross them. To move anything heavier than a bicycle in Giethoorn, furniture, construction materials, large groceries, a piano, you use a flat-bottomed wooden boat called a punter, pushed with a pole through the canals. Emergency services use boats. The postal service uses boats. Deliveries use boats. The canal system runs approximately 7.5 kilometres and connects every part of the village. The farmhouses on the islands are built close enough to the water that a person sitting in a boat can reach out and touch the window boxes. The banks of the canals are planted with reeds that grow several metres high, creating natural walls of green that in summer obscure the buildings behind them. Sound carries differently in Giethoorn than in any normal village. There is no traffic noise, no engine noise, no horn noise. On a summer morning, the sound of the village is birdsong, water movement, and the occasional soft splash of a punter pole. The village has been continuously inhabited for over 700 years. It has survived floods, wars, and the complete transformation of the Dutch landscape around it. It never built a road, it still hasn't. Rinconada sits at 5,100 metres above sea level in the Peruvian Andes, making it the highest permanent human settlement on Earth, higher than any point in the continental United States, higher than the base camp on Everest, higher than the cruising altitude of some propeller aircraft. The air at that altitude contains approximately 40% less oxygen than at sea level. New arrivals experience altitude sickness within hours. Headaches, nausea, disorientation, shortness of breath from walking 10 steps. Long-term residents develop adaptations. Their blood contains significantly more red blood cells than the average human, but also suffer chronic altitude sickness, a condition in which those extra red cells thicken the blood to a dangerous consistency, causing stroke, heart failure, and neurological damage. The average life expectancy in Rinconada is estimated at 30 to 35 years. Tens of thousands of people live here anyway. The reason is gold. The mountain beneath La Rinconada contains one of the largest accessible gold deposits in the Andes, and the town exists entirely because of it. Most miners work under a system called cachorio. They labour for 30 days without any payment whatsoever. On the 31st day, they are permitted to take as much ore as they can carry on their backs. If the ore contains gold, they keep it. If it does not, if they were assigned to a worked-out section, which happens regularly, they have worked an entire month for nothing. There is no running water. There is no sewage system. The glacial runoff that serves as the primary water source is contaminated with mercury from the mining process. There are no hospitals. The streets are covered with waste that has nowhere to go. La Rinconada is known in Peru as the lawless city. Law enforcement is minimal, crime is severe, and the slim chance of finding a nugget large enough to change everything keeps people arriving every year. They come from the poorest regions of Peru. Most of them never leave. Inside the Grand Canyon, not at the rim, not near the rim, but at the bottom of a side branch called Havasu Canyon, 8 miles from the nearest road, there is a village. Supai is home to approximately 400 members of the Havasupai tribe, one of the most geographically isolated Native American communities in the United States. To reach Supai, you can walk, ride a mule, or take a helicopter. There are no other options. No road has ever been built into Havasu Canyon. There is one school, one cafe, one small lodge, and no bank. The nearest hospital is 2 hours away by helicopter. Supai is the only community in the United States where mail is still delivered by mule. The US Postal Service operates a pack mule train that carries letters, packages, and supplies down the 13-kilometer canyon trail several times per week. The Havasupai people have lived in this canyon for at least 800 years. The reason anyone would choose to live at the bottom of a canyon 8 miles from a road is, in part, the water. Havasu Creek, which flows through the village, is turquoise blue from calcium carbonate dissolved in the water, a colour so vivid that photographs of it are routinely dismissed as edited. The creek feeds a series of waterfalls, including Havasu Falls, which drops 30 meters into a round turquoise pool. The canyon walls are 300 meters of red sandstone. The canyon is, in a phrase used by everyone who has visited it, one of the most beautiful places in the United States. The Havasupai people have managed their relationship with the canyon for 8 centuries, farming its flat floor in summer, sheltering in its walls, controlling access to the water. In the 1880s, the US government reduced their reservation to 518 acres, a fraction of their historic territory. The Havasupai fought for over a century to reclaim it. In 1975, Congress returned 185,000 acres. They are still here. The canyon protects them still. At 2,200 meters above sea level, in the Greater Caucasus Mountains of northwestern Georgia, there is a community of 4 villages called Ushguli, the highest continuously inhabited settlement in Europe and one of the oldest. The name comes from the Svan words meaning fearless heart. The people who live here, the Svans, chose this location not despite its difficulty but because of it. The narrow gorge, the sheer mountain walls, the 6 months of winter that cut the village off from the outside world entirely, all of it made Ushguli nearly impossible for an enemy to reach and nearly impossible to starve out. Approximately 200 people live here today. The same families have lived here, in the same stone houses for over 1,000 years. In every direction, medieval defensive towers rise from the village, more than 200 of them, built between the 9th and 12th centuries, each one owned by a single family and used as a refuge during clan warfare. When enemies approached, fires were lit at the tops of the towers to warn surrounding villages. The towers had no ground-level doors. You entered by ladder, then pulled the ladder up behind you. UNESCO declared the site a World Heritage Site in 1996, citing it as one of the best preserved examples of medieval mountain architecture anywhere on Earth. What makes Ushguli not just historical but genuinely extreme is what the village still demands of its residents today. For approximately 6 months every year, from October to April, snow closes every road into and out of the community. There is no alternative route. The village becomes an island in the mountains, reachable only on foot through mountain passes that are themselves dangerous in winter. Everything needed for those 6 months must be brought in and stored before the snow falls: food, medicine, fuel. If someone falls seriously ill in January, getting them to a hospital is a multi-day operation under the best conditions. The children who grow up here learn early that the mountain does not negotiate. In summer, a rough dirt road connects Ushguli to the nearest town 45 kilometers away, a drive that takes over 2 hours in dry weather and is impassable in rain. Tourists who make the journey arrive to find horses wandering between towers that predate the Magna Carta, women in traditional dress carrying firewood past 12th century churches, and glaciers on Mount Shkara, Georgia's highest peak, visible from the village square. Ushguli looks like the Middle Ages because for much of each year it still operates like them. "60 miles southeast of Anchorage, at the end of a fjord surrounded on 3 sides by mountains, and on the 4th by the open water of Prince William Sound, there is a town called Whittier. It has a population of 272 people. It has a post office, a grocery store, a laundromat, a church, a police station, a health clinic, a school, and a bed and breakfast. All of these things, every single one of them, are located inside the same 14-story concrete building. The building is called Begich Towers, and it is not merely where most people in Whittier live. For practical purposes, it is the town. Begich Towers was built in 1957 by the US Army as a Cold War military barracks, designed to withstand bombing, extreme weather, and the complete self-sufficiency required by a strategic remote outpost. When the military left in 1960, the remaining residents, rather than scatter across the surrounding wilderness, in a place where winter winds reach 100 kilometers per hour and annual rainfall exceeds 5,000 millimeters, simply stayed in the building. The school is connected to the tower by an underground heated tunnel, so children never have to go outside to get to class. The only road connecting Whittier to the outside world passes through the Anton Anderson Memorial Tunnel, 4 kilometers long, single lane, shared with a railway line and closed entirely at night. If you missed the last transit window, you're not leaving until morning. Residents who have lived here for decades describe it as perfectly normal. "It's a community under one roof," one longtime teacher told journalists. "We have everything we need. Everything they need fits in a building. The building is the town." 10 villages. 10 different answers to the same question. What does it take to keep people in a place that seems to be trying to get rid of them? The cold that freezes your eyelashes. The altitude that thins your blood. The heat that drives you underground. The cliff that can only be crossed on a stone arch with no railing. The volcano that already killed everyone once. The canyon that has no road. The building that is the entire town. The gorge that is deeper than any on Earth. The jungle that has no highway. The single mule trail that carries the mail. The answer, in every case, is the same. Something is worth staying for. The water, the gold, the soil, the canyon, the opal, the fortress walls. 800 years of belonging to one place. Humans will survive anywhere they have a reason to. Sometimes the reason is simple. Sometimes it takes 2,556 steel steps to reach it.